Hello everyone, welcome to Amani's Lightwork Keys to Akasha section of my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you've been here from the beginning of time, when I first started my channel, thank you for holding on. Thank you for not losing faith. Okay, so the story that I'm covering today, I hate to use the word story. It makes it sound so, what do you call it? When you use the word story, it makes it sound like a small issue. And I like to use the word case. I'd rather use the word case than story because story seems a little bit more like a minimalist perspective. But I like to use the word case because it adds suspense to the situation, okay? So I'm going to be covering the NASA spacecraft accident, they called it the Columbia disaster. It occurred on February 1st, 2003. The reason for the accident, I remember this, I was a kid. So, early 2000s, I was just, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. I was only a kid when I heard about this on the news. Don't ask me why I wanted to read this today. It just came into my head. And usually when that happens, it's spirit communicating to me, you need to cover this case, okay? So the space shuttle, I did look it up a little bit. I don't usually like doing too much heavy article looking. I just like to just channel to see what I receive from spirit. Okay, so it broke apart, or it broke up in pieces as it returned to Earth, killing 7 astronauts on board. The reason for the breaking apart was that they claimed that a large piece of foam fell from the shuttle's external tank and breached the spacecraft wing. Okay, so I did see that was the reason, but I wanted to understand. I wanted to see why Spirit wanted me to cover this, so I'm gonna cover it today. Okay. All right. Okay. So there's a spacecraft. Columbia disaster occurred on February 1st, 2003. The Columbia, the NASA spacecraft Columbia disaster occurred February 1st, 2003. Ship broke apart as it was headed back to Earth. What happened? Supposedly in the 60s, suddenly the spacecraft accident, the NASA spacecraft accident, the Columbia disaster, and occurred February 1st, 2003. Something's going on here with smoke also. So I would assume that smoke probably would have been fuming. Smoke probably would have been coming out. I mean, if it's breaking apart and things are bursting, I would assume that smoke would be coming out there. Okay. Okay. The hangman energy is underneath, but I get staff. So the hangman energy is staff. So there were about, I don't know if this is the staff of the people that worked in the NASA. I don't know if this is the staff, the people, the astronauts that were on the ship. But I get exterior or something is exterior. Something could have been going on with the exterior of the aircraft, or what do you call that? Or when I said staff, they said exterior. So I don't know if that's the right word to use. So okay, I'll give you a perfect example. This is either a separate group of staff, like separate group of staff meeting people, like a group of them separate from those that were on. Okay, so a group of them separate from those that were on the spacecraft, but the operations. So when I said that, a different group of people that were responsible for the operations in the NASA, the operations for to make sure that the ship was up to par. but I get removed something. So I'm looking at the hangman energy underneath. Something is going on, like a group of people, not the people that were on the aircraft, a separate group of people, like they were part of the operations or making sure that the ship, that the space, that not the ship, that the spacecraft was, ready to go. It was. I keep every time I go on this example, it was missing something, or something was on purpose. Something was missing, or something was removed from it on purpose. But the people or the person responsible for removing, I made a mistake also. The person or the people responsible for removing a part of the spacecraft, somebody either did it on purpose, but I also was getting something could have also been by accident as well. But the spirit said something was removed, or somebody may not have known. Somebody could have accidentally removed a part of the part of the engine, wherever they said the foam, wherever they said the piece of foam fell from. Something was, a vital part of that was removed, or it was just missing. Okay, by accident or on purpose. The starting point has the Six of Pentacles energy here. So funding and those kind of things could be, that could be something that is still going on now, but bereavement. So the Six of Pentacles is also bereavement, bereavement in the sense of you're talking about the victims' families, you're talking about the victims' children, the victims' wives and their husbands, if any of them were married, or one of them could have been getting married, or one of them, or however many of them, they had children, or they could have been on the verge of having children. But that the Six of Pentacles is that those life experiences for those people were tragically taken away on that day. But I keep getting, every time I go out, because of a missing part, like it keeps telling me because a part of the spacecraft was missing. Someone took it out, or it was taken out on purpose, or someone could have been, I'll give you a perfect example. Someone could have been, tightening up a bolt somewhere. Someone could have been, something is giving me the word machinery. So someone could have, the machinery part of the spacecraft, like the area where, I don't know what the spacecraft looks like. I don't have a model right here. I don't have a model in front of me to look at the mechanics or the mechanical section of the spacecraft. I get the base. So the mechanical the spirit is trying to help me. The mechanical section, or the mechanical section, or the mechanical part of the spacecraft. But the spirit also said base. So the base of something was removed from there. So the base of the spacecraft, something was removed from the base of the spacecraft. That's why the Six of Pentacles. But try to fix. So the Six of Pentacles energy, something was removed. I don't feel the people on the ship, I keep saying ship. The people on the space, I don't know why. The people on the spacecraft, they were completely unaware. The Six of Pentacles is that they were completely unaware, but at the same time, someone that back at NASA, someone that worked back there was aware something was removed. So when I say that, they were just aware that something was removed from the base of the ship. So it caused a malfunction. So the Six of Pentacles is that caused a malfunction. There. The waiting position has, this Pentacles energy is coming through here a lot. So the Queen of Pentacles energy is in the waiting position. The Queen of Pentacles energy could be, I don't know if this is someone that worked in the office, or someone that worked in operations, like the spirit said, operations and things but was responsible for, what do you call that? Was responsible for, I don't know what it's called. They're responsible for like the intercom, like sending messages through like an intercom like system. But that was staticky. So when I said that was staticky, like something was staticky. I don't know if one of these Queen of Pentacles energy, one of them could have been, one of these Queen of Pentacles energies could have been on the ship, could have been, but on Earth. So the spirit is telling me that this person, one of these Queen of Pentacles energies, was on Earth. They were on Earth in the sense where they were back at NASA, or back at the base of where the ship. I keep saying ship. Back at the base of where the spacecraft left out of. But they could have been there, but they were sending out a message. They're responsible for sending out. Oh, I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. Something was too late. This is the feeling that I'm getting. Something is too late that's happening here. So I understand the group of people that try to send her a message. I'm looking at this element. She tried to send them a message before the ship. Once why do I keep saying ship? Before the spacecraft is before this the spacecraft aborted, they tried to send a message, tell them that someone was missing. They tried to send a message. They try to send some type of intercom message, or I don't know what it's called, some type of intercom, some type of voice message through some type of telephone like situation. I don't know what that would be called, but they try to send a message to those people before the spacecraft went off. And once the spacecraft goes off, it's too late. It was staticky. So the communication that the Queen of Pentacles energy was trying to give the people on the ship, or one of the people on the ship that was responsible for communicating with this person, lost connection with her, or something was going on interesting with her trying to communicate with that person that was on the ship about I keep getting missing part. She was trying to communicate with someone that was on the ship about a missing part of the ship, about a missing part of the spacecraft. So it's once the spacecraft goes off, you can't reverse it. Once it's going up, they can't stop it from going up. It's going to keep going up. It's not a car. So it's like it's not a car, or it's not a boat. It's not a what do you call those things? It's not it's not a plane. You can't turn it around. Once the countdown starts, and once it goes up, that's it. That's it. It's not going to be able to turn. It can't turn itself around. It's going in a straight direction, but it's her fault. So I'm looking at the Queen of Pentacles energy. It's her fault. It's her fault. So it may not even be intentional that it was her fault, but missing call or staticky call that she tried to make to someone to tell them, some part of this ship, some part of this spacecraft is missing, but taken out intentionally. So when I said that it was taken out intentionally, either accidentally or intentionally, it was taken out. It was taken out, or some part of it. I keep feeling missing on purpose. Some part of the base of the spacecraft was missing on purpose. So this could be a situation here. Try not to make something seem. This element may have tried to not make something seem. Okay, they may have tried to make it seem like it was an accident. So this could be a situation here where something was taken out on purpose, but they try to clean it up. Something was taken out on purpose, but they may have tried to clean that up. Like after the fact, they may have tried to get protected by someone. They could also be protected by someone. They could be protected by, I don't know, NASA, or the organization, the company, whatever terminology you want to use with them. They're protected by those people aware of fault. They're being protected, but they're aware of a fault. So before I go any further, I just want to clarify, I'm trying to channel it clearly so I understand what they're responsible, or if they are responsible for a fault at all. But this element, before I go any further, this Queen of Pentacles energy, aware of fault. They're just aware of a fault. They're aware that I keep being in machinery, and they're aware that some part of the machinery was removed by another worker or another team, someone from another team of astronauts. I don't know how many. That's why I said from the beginning when I was channeling, I was getting this feeling of two different teams. Or I don't know how many teams of astronauts. I mean, NASA is a big organization. I don't know how many, run by the government, yes. I don't know how many astronauts. I don't know how many teams of astronauts, of 7 or however many teams of astronauts they would have. There could have been more than one, but that's why the spirit was saying exterior. So either the exterior of the spacecraft or a person. She could be the person that was on another team, but I just feel like she's responsible for some type of operations, or making some type of intercom voice call to, that was her designated role. But I don't feel like she was on the ship. I feel like separate team. I feel like she's on a separate team, or she's responsible. A separate team in the sense where not necessarily a separate team of astronauts, a separate team as in people that worked in different functions of the NASA organization, like someone who works in the Department of Operations, someone who works in the in the design department and things of that nature, the mechanics and those kind of things. Some other team, you know what I mean? When I say team, I mean she had a different job. She wasn't necessarily an astronaut. I keep getting responsible for fault. So the spirit is agreeing that she's just responsible for a fault. She's responsible. She's responsible for knowing that some part of the machinery was removed. There's that could have been, well, walked by and saw something. So the Queen of Pentacles, she walked by and saw something, like walking by and observed something. She walking by, the walking by and observing something could be something that she observed about another teammate that worked in her department, another teammate that removed something. She observed that another teammate in her department or some other department in NASA, they went up to that spacecraft and they removed something from the spacecraft. So what's happening here, she's trying to protect herself, or someone is protecting her by saying, okay, she's trying to make it seem like she's realizing that she saw something, or she pretended not to see something, or I'm trying to understand. So I don't know if this is something that is intentional. That's why I said on purpose. Something was removed on purpose, but try not to see. So the Queen, she tried not to see that something was removed on purpose. So what's happening is she's trying to place herself in a situation where she's trying to communicate with these astronauts at the last minute, like during the countdown, and say and sending them staticky communication. It was on purpose. Sending them staticky communication and things of that nature. It was done on purpose. It was done on purpose. So her intent was to not, some part of it was, or it was not. Her intent, what I could protect herself. Her intent was to protect herself. Her intent was to protect herself from what she saw or what she walked by and saw someone else do. It just depends on what's going on. Okay. The present has the Page of Wands energy. Younger teammates, or they're a younger they could be a younger person. I keep getting operations. They could be a younger person, like I don't know if this is the intern, a younger person that worked in operation with the Queen of Pentacles, but I don't know if they were responsible for taking out something. They could also be, if this is a younger person right here in the present, they could be responsible for taking out something, but try to communicate that to Queen of Pentacles energy. So they were responsible for taking out something, but this feels like a situation here where this element was, I don't know if they were changing something. I don't know if they were putting in the gas or the oil. I don't know, whatever the part of the plane, whatever the part of the spacecraft is, they're trying to fix something. They were trying to fix something, but left out a part of it. They were trying to fix something, but they left out a part of it, either by accident or on purpose. It depends on what's going on. But I keep feeling communicated that whatever, it feels like it's a male. I feel like it's a male. It could be a female. This Page of Wands energy could be. It could be a male element that's coming off here. I feel like whatever something's gone with screwing and those kind of things. Whatever it is that they were doing, they tried to communicate. I keep feeling this feeling of staticky communication. Like staticky, something is staticky about their communicate. Static, either metaphorically static, like she could have misinterpreted. Okay, the Queen of Pentacles energy could have misinterpreted what a Page of Wands energy. I have to fix. When I said that, I feel like it's a dude. He or she, whatever. The Page of Wands is communicating to the Queen of Pentacles energy and trying to tell her, I need to fix. Before the spacecraft goes off, I need to fix this mechanical part here. It's missing a screw or a knob, a fuel. I need to tighten this. It's something wasn't in properly, and that could be what they were trying to communicate to a misinterpretation. That could be what they were trying to communicate to a Queen of Pentacles energy, because she misinterpreted. She misinterpreted some type of communication that they were trying to give her. There's that. I mean that would make sense. But I keep feeling this feeling. I'm looking at them. They were just aware of a fault. Like I feel like I feel like something's interesting about this. I feel like the Queen of Pentacles energy heard something clearly. Also, I feel like they heard, but didn't like someone on the space. I almost said ship again. They didn't like someone on the spacecraft, like the Queen of Pentacles energy that worked in the operations or whatever department she worked in NASA. She didn't like someone that was on the ship. Like she could have had some type of issue with one of those astronauts on the ship, like a secret issue or some type of vendetta, some type of. I also get envy. She may have been envious of someone or one of the astronauts that got on the ship. She was envious of one of the astronauts that got on the ship. That's why the Page of Wands, but trying to communicate. The Page of Wands in the present was trying to communicate something to her. Tell her that something wasn't screwed in properly, but she went ahead and did some miscommunication. She's receiving some type of miscommunication. So pretending not to hear. So she could have been pretending not to hear. There's one part of this, that's why I keep saying static and those kind of things. One part of this, she could be hearing. She could have received some type of vital before it went off. She could have received some type of vital information before the spacecraft went off, but interpreting it. Okay, Jesus Christ, I can't even say the word. Interpreting it wrongly is what she was doing. So either she did that by accident. That's why I said trying to act like she didn't hear this person properly. She did or she did not, or something was intentional with her intent. Something was just intentional with her intent. So she could have the Page of Wands in the present. She could have received communication from the Page of Wands. Tell them not to let the don't start off the countdown. Don't I don't know how they start what do you call it? I don't know how they start spacecrafts off. I don't know. I know they do a countdown, but I don't know what section or department that they go into, the control room and those kind of things to get the spacecraft to start going up into space, but wrongfully interpreted. So when I said that, I'm looking at the Queen of Pentacles. She wrongfully interpreted something. She wrongfully interpreted some type of communication there with someone that worked in the mechanics department, someone that was responsible for fixing, or they could have been in the middle of tightening up a loose. Something could have been loose, something could have been taken out to be observed. Something could have just been taken out of the spacecraft to just be observed by a Page of Wands energy. Something was just taken out to just be observed carefully, so that it would function properly. So this element in the present, they removed something. They removed something from the spacecraft before. Okay, they removed something from the spacecraft before it went off, so that they could observe it to see that it would function properly when the spacecraft went off. But she misinterpreted. So the Queen of Pentacles energy misinterpreted there. The Spirit emphasizing misinterpreted with the Queen of Pentacles is that she's receiving. I'll give you a perfect example. This person. This Page of Wands energy is telling the Queen of Pentacles, don't let them. They're telling the Queen of Pentacles energy, don't communicate with someone. Don't communicate. Oh, I see what's going on here. I see what's happening here. This is, okay, let me run through this as carefully as I possibly can, because there's a lot of information. This is a situation here where someone on the spacecraft is told that everything is pristine with the mechanical part of the spacecraft. Like, they're being told that everything is pristine, everything is in order, everything is screwed in properly, everything is put in. So the Page of Wands, responsible for communicating that also. The Page of Wands energy in the present is also responsible for communicating. They're responsible for communicating that to someone on the spacecraft as well, but decided to go through Queen of Pentacles. But what their wrong move was deciding to go through the Queen of Pentacles energy for her to communicate that with like a three-way situation, like a what do you call that thing? What do you call that system where people are in line, like a work system. I can't remember what it's called, but it's supposed to create a line of organization within a team. So one part is the Page of Wands is responsible for communicating. The Page of Wands is responsible for communicating to someone on the spacecraft that everything is functioning properly, everything is okay, but their fault also is going through the Queen, not good, going through the Queen of Pentacles energy and telling her to tell someone. They could have had to go run off and do something else, whatever it was. Their fault was communicating through the Queen of Pentacles energy to tell to tell someone that everything was okay, but she did something on purpose. So the Queen of Pentacles energy there, that's why I said misinterpreting something wrong from the Page of Wands, or misinterpreting it on purpose. She misinterpreted it on purpose. So his I keep saying his, okay, I feel like it's a male. His or her, whatever, their responsibility was to tell the Queen of Pentacles, to tell someone on the ship, we need to put in this first. He's still working on this, that, and the third. He's still working on this, that, and the third. The spacecraft can't go off yet. Told them that they were good to go. So I'm looking at the Queen of Pentacles. That's what I'm trying to get to. She told them that they were good to go, but they weren't really good to go. So what's happening with that is that something could have, if somebody found it out, this energy could have lost their job, but didn't know something. They could have lost their job, but they also didn't know something, because the reason why they don't know something was because they clearly communicated something to the Queen. She misinterpreted. They clearly communicated something to the Queen of Pentacles energy, but she misinterpreted that, whatever the communication was. So it's her fault, but at the same should have done something directly. This person also had clear communication. I mean, this person also had some type of connection to the people on the spacecraft as well. I mean, in terms of it being direct. But they could have gotten busy, or they had to go work. They had that specific responsibility was to fix things, was to make sure their operational department, whatever department it is that they were working in, that was their specific role. So they can't, their main, the communicating, yes, they had that kind of communication, but them communicating directly to someone on the spacecraft, that wasn't their main responsibility. It was her, that I feel like was the Queen of Pentacles' main responsibility, that she's misinterpreting something on purpose that she's receiving by this person, that she's receiving missing parts, and trying to tell them that I'm not done. Tell them that I didn't put in the fuel. Tell them that tell them I don't understand this part, some type of foam piece. Tell them that this isn't intact yet. I need to fix it. She messed up something there. Okay. The future has the Ten of Wands energy there. Okay. All right. And I can see where that is going. The Three of Pentacles energy. There's a lot of pentacles with this Queen of Pentacles energy here. The Three of Pentacles energy is in the, what do you call it? Is in the instincts here. So that could be, the Three of Pentacles energy could be the collaboration between miscommunication. Three of Pentacles is also miscommunication between, the Three of Pentacles is miscommunication between, could be more than one of them, between Queen of Pentacles energy and Page of Wands. The wands resonate with the Ten of Wands in the future resonates with, it's not their fault. The Ten of Wands in the future resonates with the Page of Wands because something isn't their fault. Something is not their fault. But the Three of Pentacles is the Three of Pentacles in the instinct, in the instincts is that I keep saying he because I feel like it's a male. Him or her, whatever. His because the Three of Pentacles I feel like is also connected with the Page of Wands, but thought they communicated something properly. So they thought that they communicated something properly to the Queen of Pentacles energy. They thought that they did. So she could have been, but something was okay or clear on his end. That's why I said the static. Something could have been clear on his end. Something was clear on this person's end. Something was clear on their end. Kept saying there was static. So the Queen of Pentacles energy kept saying that there was static. She kept saying that there was static. You know? She kept saying that there was that there was static. So I don't know if one of these, however many Queen of Pentacles, one element here, I do feel like one of them on the base. I feel like one of them is also on the base, and on the base, like they stayed behind at the station. They stayed behind at the station. I don't feel like, because more than one of them could be shown up here. One of them could be embodying a female that was also on the ship. That could also be, I feel like they're more so base. I feel like this is more so base communication. I feel like this is like on the base. This is more so base communication before the spacecraft is going off. So one of these elements could have been, or one of these elements could be embodying one of the female energies that are also on the more than one of them. There's more than one of them. So one of these elements directly communicated to the Page of Wands about the functionality of a particular part of the base of the spacecraft. One of them was on the ship. One of them, I keep saying ship. One of them is embodying, I don't know what their signs were. One of them is also embodying the energy of one of the female elements on the ship, on the spacecraft. One of them is embodying that, and that could be that kind of communication. That's why I said the Page of Wands having that direct communication to someone on the spacecraft. One of them is embodying the Queen of Pentacles energy in terms of misinterpreted, in terms of a misinterpretation, in terms of a fault and miscommunication. But everything was good on their end. So I keep looking at the Page of Wands. Everything was good on their end, like their end, meaning their end in the sense where communication, their end where they may not have had a staticky, but she kept saying that they may not have had a staticky communication, but she kept saying that was something that one of these elements kept saying. So either one of these Queen of Pentacles energies was on the ship, or one of the females on the ship was embodying Queen of Pentacles and kept saying to him, and kept saying to the Page of Wands energy directly that something, I can't hear you, I can't hear what you're saying, and this, that, and the third. So the spirit emphasizing that everything was good on their end. They also heard something wrong. Hearing something wrong and good to go. Hearing something wrong is that they could have been hearing that. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example now. I understand what's happening. This is communicating. This is if the Page of Wands energy is communicating to someone. If the Page of Wands energy is directly communicating to someone on the spacecraft, they said everything was okay. So one of them said everything was okay. At least that's what they heard. So at least that was what they heard. Or they are trying to communicate, or vice versa. They're trying to communicate directly to someone on the spacecraft and say that something isn't tight here. I need to fix this. They didn't hear it. They missed it, or they didn't hear it with the Page of Wands and one of the female elements that were on the ship, that were on the spacecraft. They didn't hear. I'll give you a perfect example. If this is a static problem with some type of intercom like thing, some type of static. If this is a static issue, I'll role play this for a second. If this is a static issue, the Page of Wands energy, everything is clear on their end. So I'll say, Sally, Sally, something, I need to put in this before I need to put in this screw before I need to put in this fuel tank before the spacecraft goes off. She heard something totally different. So when the spirit agreed with the example, one Queen of Pentacles energy, or someone that was embodying that, she's heard something totally different. Somehow what they said sounded like good to go. Somehow what they said sounded like good to go with one of these Queen of Pentacles energy. Somehow what they said sounded like you're good to go, but that's not what they said. I understand. The accomplishment has there's a lot of pentacles energy. There's a lot of pentacles energy here. There could be more than one queen of pentacles, more than one earth sign energy that's shown up here. Okay, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn females there. So the eight of pentacles is in the accomplishment. This could also be a financial situation as well. This could a taxes, some type of issue like that with them and their families and those kind of things. Money, I feel like money could also be going on here. Some element of a financial issue, but didn't have enough money to fund. So when I said that, something either their journey or another department or needed funding, another department or needed another department in the NASA, some type of department, another department needed funding as well. That could be why something happened the way that could also be why something happened the way it was. Something happened the way it did here as well, because a department needing some type of funding, or they were lacking in funds, and the spirit emphasizing that the functionality of the spacecraft, it has something to do with the functionality of the spacecraft and the static, an issue with the static and those kind of things, and having proper parts in the spacecraft. But that was the issue, just having funding to having the right funding to have having the right funding or enough funding to have proper tools and proper proper parts to put in the spacecraft, or just to replace them with. Just to replace them with, to just have the funds to replace old broken down pieces of the spacecraft and replace them with it. But that's what they were trying to do. So when I said that could be what they were also trying to do. They were also trying to do that, or the page of that at the wrong time. That the page of wands energy was trying to do that at the wrong time. They were trying to replace. They could have been trying either this is a new piece. Either this is a new piece that was already installed. Some type of new piece was already installed in the spacecraft, but somebody told this person replace it. Somebody told this person to replace it. So either the spacecraft had an old part in it that had to be taken out and replaced with a new one, or it did have a new part in it replaced with old one. It could have also had. It's a large spacecraft. A part of it, one part This is a lot of information. A part of the spacecraft. I had a part of it that was part of it was new and could have been replaced with an old one, or part of it was old and somebody was trying to replace it with a new one so it will function properly, but they didn't hear that properly. So the page of wands, they may not have heard that properly, or that like I also said, they could have not heard that properly, or I also said that that could have also been what they were trying to do as well. They were trying to replace an old part with a new one. They were trying to take out something new and replace it with something old. For whatever reason, they were trying to do that. You know what they say? You know what they say? They say like older parts usually work better than, but that's not true. The older parts usually work better than new ones, but was asked to do that. So the page of wands energy, they could have also been asked to do that. They were also asked to do that. But the Eight of Pentacles energy is right next to the Six of Pentacles. They were also asked, but didn't want to tell them that. So the Eight of Pentacles right next to the Six of Pentacles. The Page of Wands energy did not want to tell one of the Queen of Pentacles energy. I was asked to replace. I was asked to take out. I was asked to fix. I was asked to replace something new with something old. I was asked to replace something old with something new. Whatever it is. And something there, they try to act like they didn't hear. Something there, they try to act like they didn't hear, or they misinterpreted on purpose for whatever reason. The spiritual self has the Ten of Swords right next to either one of them is one of them. If obviously if one of these elements, if one of these Queen of Pentacles is on the spacecraft, it's obvious that she would not have listened to something wrongly. I mean I would be all ears if I'm going to be shot up to space. for however long, I would make sure that I have direct, clear, and concise communication. But the Ten of Swords right next to them in the spiritual self is that if one of these elements was on the ship, the Ten of Swords usually implies passing. Because of misinterpretation, it implies passing because of an accidental misinterpretation. One of them work on the base. One of them work on the base. They heard that he's done. He put in the part that they just shipped in, the new piece. He's done with that. You guys are good to go. It's just an example of what kind of communication or conversation that they would have been trying to have there. You know what I mean? And somebody's like, okay. Somebody's like, okay. Someone's saying, okay, let's go. Whatever it is. But the Ten of Swords is in the spiritual self right next to them, but still protected. So if one of these elements is on the base, if they still work there or they're still on the base for whatever reason, they're also protected. But the Ten of Swords is right next to them because living with something, the Ten of Swords is next to them because they don't even have to be Queen of Pentacles. Somebody could just be embodying that, but they don't even have to live with that issue. But they don't. What did I just say? They don't even have to be. They could just be. If they're not, they could be Queen of Pentacles, but they don't necessarily have to be. They could just be embodying that. But I was also the Ten of Swords next to them is that they are protected, but they're living with regret. But they're just living with some type of regret. They're just living with a regret. So it's either something that they did on purpose or by accident. Whatever it is, they're just living with some type of regret. The regret because they didn't hear something properly. Regret because I stopped to listen. Regret because they didn't stop to listen to a conversation. Also, they also didn't stop to listen to a conversation though. Like I said, they were walking by. But the mechanic area, they were walking by. Oh, I see. I understand what's happening here. This element also, they could, like I also said, I'll go with two different situations. I'll go with them as two different people for a second. The Queen of Pentacles energy, I'll go with them as one of these elements could have like I also said, one of them could also have been on the spacecraft but heard a conversation. So one of them was also on the spacecraft, but before they got on, they also could have been walking by, heard a cryptic conversation. They could have been walking by and they heard a cryptic conversation about parts being removed, about a new part being replaced with an old one, whatever it was. Or if they were on the spacecraft, that's one situation. If they also were on the spacecraft, they could have thought everything was okay. Yes, they could have been thinking that everything was okay, but at the same time failed to receive. At the same time, they also failed to receive, and the spirit emphasizing that is because they're getting on. They either stop to listen, but only briefly. They stop to listen, but only briefly. If they are one that was getting on the spacecraft, they stopped to listen. This could have been days prior. They stopped to listen to the conversation. They stopped to listen to the conversation, but they could have picked up something really interesting, but still got on spacecraft. They could have picked up something interesting in communication that they heard somebody in the mechanic or whatever operation that they heard someone talking about the parts of the spacecraft, but still didn't believe. Also, they may have also not believed what they heard, however, but they still got on the spacecraft. So this could have been a situation here where they could have heard something really interesting or cryptic about the parts of the plane, or about finances and old parts and new parts, and somebody needed to fix something, but they still got on it and could have communicated that they still got on, and they could have communicated that to other people, the other six. That's why the Six of Pentacles energy is there, and they're minus that one. They're one of them makes up that 7 because they heard a conversation. One of them makes up the rest of the 7 because they heard a conversation, but they got on the spacecraft. They heard something cryptic, but they may not even have looked at it that deeply, and they may not even have been thinking betrayed. They may not even have been thinking that they would have ended up getting betrayed. So they're one of them, and they got on the spacecraft. And they didn't share anything. They got on the spacecraft, but they didn't share what they heard. with the other 6 people that were on the spacecraft. Whatever it is that they heard, something about finances and the spacecraft needing money and the functionality, and some type of cryptic conversation that they heard about the functionality of the spacecraft. They could have had the opportunity. They could have had the opportunity to share that with the other 6 people, whatever kind of conversation it was. But that's one situation. Then if one of these elements, I keep getting base, then there's another situation here where one of these elements also worked on the base, and that same kind of situation may also resonate with the other Queen of Pentacles energy, or another female that is embodying Queen of Pentacles energy. But she wanted money. So when I said that they're embodying that, she wanted money. She wanted money also. She wanted money. She walked by, and she herself also walked by and heard a cryptic conversation. But it's happened 2 different times. So whatever happened with those 2 different women, it's women, yes. Those 2 different women, it happened at 2 different times as well. It happened at 2 different times. The one that's living heard a cryptic conversation. One that's living heard a cryptic conversation. One that's not could have saved the others. One that's not living could have saved the others to tell them what they heard. Wow. Wow. The King of Pentacles energy is in the mentality here. Okay. So now we're dealing with male earth sign. There's a lot of earth sign energy here. So King of Pentacles typically predominantly would be Taurus, but it could be any earth sign energy that's a male. Earth sign energy, 3 of Pentacles with them, but they work there. So the King of Pentacles energy, I don't know the signs of the people, but of all the people, but I'm looking at what I see here. The King of Pentacles energy base, they also work on the base, or a King of Pentacles energy that work on the base. They are also they could also be someone that's embodying King of Pentacles energy, Capricorn, male, Taurus, Virgo elements that are male. They worked on the spacecraft. They worked on the base. It keeps telling me base. So either the base as in the station base, like the astronaut base, or the base as in the base of the spacecraft. But they worked with the Page of Wands energy as well. They worked with them, or they communicated something to them, whatever it was. They saw something also. So I'm looking at them, and they also saw something, heard something. They also saw something. They also saw something as well happen, or they just observed what the Page of Wands energy, but misinterpretation. They observed they also observed that the Page of Wands energy misinterpreted something. They also observed that. So some of these elements. Some of these elements in terms of communication, some of these work. I keep feeling the spirit is telling me work either because the spirit knows that I'm about to say something that may not even apply, but they want to finish it for me and say some of these elements work on the base. That was their main, either the base of the spacecraft, or they worked on the base, like the astronaut base, like the station. They worked at the base. Some of them worked on the base. I know some of them worked were on the ship, were on the spacecraft. Some of them were also on the base, but miscommunicating. The ones that were on the base, they were miscommunicating. There was the main issue here is just miscommunication between people. That's what caused the issue, or something that communication. Something also behind the scenes of that communication also implies that something was also done on purpose. It also implies that something was done. Part of the miscommunication could have also been on purpose, or somebody heard something about the part of the just didn't want to say anything. They heard something about the part of the ship before it went off, but they just didn't want to say anything, but didn't have time. So someone this is NASA, so someone may not even have time to stop and say. Someone may not even have been the responsibility. Someone may not even have had time to just stop and observe something, stop and listen to a conversation, stop and warn. I'm looking at the King of Pentacles. Stop and warn someone. Stop and warn somebody. They're about to get on. They're about to get on, and whatever it is, they're about to go off. Whatever, with the King of Pentacles, with the 3 of Pentacles energy as well. King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles energy work on base. Some of them were already on the spacecraft. But it's miscommunication. It's just miscommunication because a part wasn't put in. It's just miscommunication going on with people here because a part, somebody was working on a part of the base or a part of the spacecraft. Somebody was just working on it, and but some people are purposefully aware that someone was still doing that, or they just didn't say anything for whatever reason. But the reason for it, one of the secretive reasons for it also is because they also wanted funding. They also wanted funding. They also wanted funding. You know, another element about this also is that someone may not even have been thinking blow up. Someone may not even have been, that they did or did not. Someone may not even have been thinking that it would blow up. Whatever. Someone may not have been thinking that it actually would. I mean, if you know the parts of the spacecraft well, if somebody knows the part, but try to act like they did. And look at the King of Pentacles energy. They may have tried to act like they did. They did, or they did, or they did not, or they tried to act like they did, and they really didn't. Whatever. And they could have been responsible for mentoring a page. They're younger. It's a page. So I feel like they're older than this person that's fixing something. So they could be responsible for mentoring this person. They could have been responsible. It could have been some type of wrong mentoring of a part of a plane of a part of a spacecraft that this person was responsible for giving. This person, the King of Pentacles, was responsible for giving a Page of Wands. That's why the Three of Pentacles and Ten of Wands energy is there. Ten of Swords right next to them. They just communicated something wrong. So the swords represent communication. They just communicated something wrong. But the King of Pentacles the King of Pentacles is responsible for mentoring or showing them something. They're responsible for mentoring Page of Wands and showing them something, how to do something, how to install something, fix something, screw something. But something about their teaching is wrong with them. Oh wow. The Six of Swords energy is in a changing position. Six of Swords usually represent some type of certainty as air sign elements. Like, we don't heavily have any air sign elements here. I just feel like a voice. It's telling me something about a voice, like a voice as in voice communication. The Six of Swords, but I keep feeling this feeling of thought it was clear, and it's right above the Page of Wands. They thought some type of communication was clear. They thought it was, that's why it's in a changing position. All of these elements thought that some type of communication was clear, and it really wasn't. They thought something wasn't right, you know? But I also get hiring. So some of these elements were that they are on the base. Some of these elements here, they were hired, but that something isn't right about their they're getting hired to do to mentor someone else, to put in parts of the spacecraft. Don't really know what they're doing. The Page of Wands didn't really know what they were doing, but they're getting taught. But someone that's teaching them is also needs to be taught over again. Someone needs to be taught over again. Someone needs to be taught over again. Like they don't even, someone's going with finishing school and things with King of Pentacles energy also. Something could be going on here with their schooling or some type of mathematical issue that they have going on here, some type of mathematical issue that they have going on here with whatever quantum physics and whatever it is, and parts of the engine and whatever it is that's going on there. Some type of statistical information that was misinterpreted. Some type of statistical information that they misinterpreted to somebody here. Whatever it is, if some type of information. But they also need to take a class. They also may need to take a class again, or whatever it is. They need to go to that could be something that they already did, but they didn't know didn't know that they needed. That could be something that this could just be this could have been an issue where someone missed a training for something. You know, I mean, yes, they would have qualified. Yes, they would have qualified to be in this kind of program, but they also could have missed a training. They also weren't listening also. They could have missed a training, or they weren't listening to a vital part of the training. Some type of class, some type of training that they were supposed about the mechanics. It was about the mechanics that they missed something there. They missed some type of important note into how to install, into how to mentor someone else. This is teaching someone how to tighten a bolt. but they're missing this is this person learning how to tighten a bolt, for example. They're learning how to tighten a bolt, but they think that they think that they are learning it properly. So what's happening is they're finding this younger person lost. They're finding a younger person that also works on the base, and they're just lost. This person is lost, so they're teaching them how to tighten the bolt wrongly, but twisting it wrong. So it agrees. They end up twisting in something wrong. However, twist, I don't know, apply, whatever. They applied or they're twisting something in wrong. I'm looking at the Six of Swords energy, and this kind of looks like some type of tool for doing that kind of work. Someone wasn't screwed in properly here. Screwed in properly. I mean, it's interesting. Screwed in properly in the sense where somebody could have had something going on with them mentally. Somebody could have had loose bolts and stuff going on in their mind somewhere as well. Someone could have been a smoker. Someone could have also been a smoker. Someone could have been a smoker here that was working in the mechanics section, and something was going on with that. The resolution has the Three of Wands going towards the 10. The 10, you get these threes here. These wands pretty much resonate with the Page of Wands energy. Getting yelled at. So Three of Wands, they end up getting yelled at after the fact. They could have yelled at is a very minimalist word to use, getting yelled at. But I mean, whatever it is that ended up happening with them. But they could have lost their position. They could have ended up losing it. This could have happened. Part of this could have happened after. They could have. I mean, usually when you go towards the end of the Crux Ansata, what going towards is usually gives me like things that happen after the fact, like the resolution in the future. It's what happened after the fact. These cards here going across are during the situation, before the situation. Going towards the end is the aftermath. And somebody getting yelled at here. 10 of Wands. There's three people arguing here. Queen of Pentacles. The three Queen of Pentacles. One of these Queen of Pentacles. One of these King of Pentacles. One of Page of Wands. That equals, if it's three people responsible for fault. There's three people here responsible for a fault. They're responsible for miscommunication, misinterpretation, some type of issue with a training that somebody wasn't paying attention to the training, and something happened with that. How you put this in? How do we install this? Something was installed badly. Someone was just installed badly here. Whatever. On purpose? I don't feel like something was installed. I mean, I feel like some type of communication. With Queen of Pentacles, because one of these Queen of Pentacles energies, or someone that's some female that's embodying that, had some type of I keep getting vendetta every time I go on these examples. They had some type of vendetta on. I don't know if they had some type of vendetta on Page. I don't feel that. I feel like they could have had some type of vendetta-like feeling with someone that was on the spacecraft for whatever reason. Or they didn't like somebody that was on the spacecraft, and something happened with them that was also on purpose. Something happened with them that was also on purpose. But the issue with the mechanics and the parts and the screwing is residing with King of Pentacles. Their teaching is residing with the King of Pentacles energy. Their teaching and Page of Wands. So it's literally, if it's three people responsible for a fault here. But one of them literally did something on purpose. One of them literally did something on purpose here also. One of them did something on purpose here with the 10 of Wands and 10 of Wands right next to the King of Pentacles. They argued. They end up arguing. I mean, yeah, they end up arguing here. But scared. So I'm looking at one of these Queen of Pentacles energy. They're scared, or they end up being. They still are, or they're scared. They could still be scared if they wherever they are now. They could still be paranoid. The 10 of Swords next to them is that they may be suffering. That's why I said some mentally in bolts and screws. Something could be going on mentally with them where they may be suffering from paranoia. They may be paranoid. They may end up being paranoid for some reason. But because they're living with some type of issue, like of what they did, what they said. What they decided not to pass on to someone in terms of communication. That's why the 10 of Swords doesn't mental detriment with them also, but some type of mentally detrimental situation that they're suffering from now, whatever it is. But it's their communication that was off. That's why the 10 of swords is next to them. It's a 10 because the spacecraft is going off. She said something wrong. Spacecraft going off. She said something wrong. He or she, Page of Wands energy said something wrong. Communicated something wrong. I'm not done yet. Page of Wands, I'm not finished. That could be one of these worked on the base. I'm trying to tell her I'm not done. And she's telling them, you go. It's ready. Wow. It's ready to take off. The spacecraft is not really ready to take off. It's not really ready because of these elements here. It's not really ready. Okay. All right. Because the article made it seem like I don't know what, I'm not sure. I didn't really read anything. I just wanted to see what the reason was here, but they didn't say. All they're saying is that something just blew up, but they kind of made it seem like something just malfunctioned on its own. Well, yeah, but they made it seem like something just malfunctioned on its own, but they didn't really. I'm not sure. They could have ended up questioning people here also that worked on the base or that were responsible for working on that part of the spacecraft. They could have questioned. I'm sure somebody could have ended up getting pounded down with questions after the fact. I would think so. I would think so. In terms of seeing, why did this thing just fall out like this? What happened? That's why I said exterior. It's something going on with the external part of something was missing, whatever it was. All right, let's look for an outcome for this case. Okay, you got Two of Pentacles energy is there, and let me do another outcome. Okay. And the Hermit, there is Virgo, so that could be a Virgo male that's there. That could be a Virgo male. It doesn't have to be a Virgo male, but the Hermit is right next to the Two of Pentacles. It's Hermit. The Two of Pentacles and Hermit could that's residing with all these earth signs. Their mistake is residing with all the earth signs because it's Hermit energy to the station that the spacecraft people that worked at the base. It's Hermit energy. But what went wrong? So it's Hermit energy because people do not understand what went wrong. Like someone, I don't know if they looked into. I don't know if they questioned anybody after. I don't know what they did, I don't know if they could have ended up questioning some of these elements here after the fact. They could have questioned some of these people after, with her Hermit right next to but the Queen of Pentacles, the Hermit is residing with the Queen of Pentacles energy. It resides with them. It's residing with them. It's Hermit because of their something's going on with them, and them still working. They could still work somewhere. You know what I mean? They could still, the protection, early on in the reading, the protection that they received, it could be that they had to really explain to people that, explain to people that this is a legitimate, I'm literally having an issue with static here. They did it, they really did, or they did not. But I was getting that they also had some type of issue with someone that was on the spacecraft, like another female or something. Whatever it is. That's what I was getting vendetta. A vendetta could be on them. Somebody could have a vendetta on them. So that could be something. That's why I said they're paranoid. They got paranoid because they're thinking that somebody, the families may have some type of secret vendetta on them, on the Queen of Pentacles energy. Somebody has somebody has something, or she may be thinking that, or one of those elements. They could be thinking that. It could be a Virgo female, Virgo male. I don't know what the main person is. It's Virgo energy is here, so that's either a Virgo male or a Virgo female. Now work on the base, Page of Wands. You got Virgo, whichever. Taurus. This is predominantly Taurus, but it could also be a Virgo male. Whatever earth sign energy that's a male. Well, paranoia, and not knowing what to do, whatever it is. But I was getting the families, something's going on with the families having some type of feeling towards that person. You know, the feeling, some type of feeling that the families of the victims have towards them. You know, she may have ended up having to apologize to someone. You know, she did or she did not. I don't know what they. I'm gonna look to check to see what they. After what happened, look to see what they did after, or what they did with some of these workers after. All right. So that's that case. For the Columbiadisaster, the NASA spacecraft accident. All right. If you have questions about this, you know where my emails are. My Instagram is AmaniEfe777. Okay. All right. Peace.